I was more selling out when I was just working a 9 to 5.
On the right hand side, Shuffle T, make some noise.
So what was the moment then that you went from being a fan of battle rap or comedy to actually doing it?
I got sat next down to the co-founder. And I was like, yeah, mate, I'll rap, mate. Yeah, I'm a good rapper, mate. I'll do it all the time.
One of us would just be kind of saying some stuff,
and the next person would just be kind of making it up, and before you know it, the synchronization is done and we're basically one, mate.
I get more and more nervous every battle I do.
But when you came back, he was the same miserable dude. So tell me, whilst out in Australia, what did you redo?
So what's the worst thing that's ever happened on stage, and have you ever completely choked?
Yeah, it was really cringy.
Yo!
That was the worst thing that's ever happened on stage. That was cringy as fuck. I was there for, it felt like 10 minutes. So I was just thinking, next time, if I ever dry up and I'm just like, I'm up there and I'm like, I'm just gonna go, West Philadelphia, born and raised. Oh, it's one time I met Shuffle T, mate.
So let's face it, very few people want to do the 9 to 5 grinds.
Sure.
No one wants to work in accounts. Colin, who is a photocopy salesman, would much rather be playing drums in a band and surviving on MDMA and groupies than he would be, firing out proposals all day. And you have now made that leap and you are cocking about for a living.
Cocking about, yeah. Professional cockabouter. It feels good.
So what was the moment then that you went from being a fan of battle rap or comedy to actually doing it?
First time I did it was in 2012, and me and Marlo, who I like rap with, we would watch him all the time. We were like massive fans of it, and we'd like write in our room and stuff like that. And then we were like, right, we've got to actually go to one, like just not even like take part, just attend one, because we were always worried that we wouldn't like fit in and stuff. And so we went to this one that was in Shepherd's Bush, in a place called Ginglick, and then we didn't realise it was like a freestyle event. Yeah. So usually they're all pre-written and stuff, but this was just like, come on and just do your thing and see how it goes kind of thing. And I got like mad drunk really, really early on, just to like cope with like the panic of being around people who I like knew from YouTube and stuff. And I got sat next down to the co-founder. And I was like, yeah, mate, I'll rap, mate. Yeah, I'm a good rapper, mate. I'll do it all the time. I'm just gonna rap for you now if you want. He was like, oh yeah, sick. Immediately gets up and goes. And I'm like, yeah, see you in a minute. He'll be back with a drink. And then like about half an hour later, he came over and he was like, oh, we've just had a dropout. There's 9 people, which sounds like the plot of a really shit film. Yeah. Like, oh, we've just had a dropout. Hey, you, like, me? But like, and so I was like, oh yeah, go on, man, I'll do it. And he was like, what's your name? And I was like, Shuffle T.
Oh, so you didn't even have a name at that point?
I sort of like had, like, Shuffle was just my password for everything, because I used to love, like...
He's changed it since.
Yeah.
Logging on.
Now it just is Shuffle T. Yeah. But no, I used to be a magician, and so I used to love doing like card tricks, and the thing I most liked doing was like clever shuffles and stuff like that. And so I'd always had like Shuffle in mind, but T was short for Titan, which was my online rap name for a while. When I was doing like text battles where you're not even like face to face with them, you're just literally writing them down and someone goes, yeah, not bad. It was just lame. So yeah, I agreed to do this thing, and I went up there and I was just like absolutely trash, but people thought I was like taking the piss. Yeah. So it was all right. They thought I was trying really hard because I was like drunk and stuff. I was like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. And then like I was just trash. I think like the first thing I said was like, I'll take you to France and start making you dance. And then everyone for ages afterwards were like, are you from France? I was like, no, I don't know why I said that. I was going to take the guy to France, a romantic trip away, and then I'm going to make him dance. I feel worried for them
people that what you say, they're taking it literally. He takes people to France all the time just to dance.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
That happens a lot. Everything you say gets taken to the extent that like that's just, it's either a nugget of truth or like they're like, no, that's the case. Like, and people use angles against you, which they'll obviously just fabricate. Yeah. And then everyone is like, oh, that happened.
But once it's been said in battle rap, it then becomes true.
Well, weirdly, it's when it's said twice. Oh. So it's like when you say it one time, that could be anything, but then someone else picks up on that angle in the next battle and like, oh, I'm going to mention that too, and then it's fact. It's like, someone's mum's a drug addict, and it's just not that I know of. But like, and like, I went to Bath Uni. I didn't go to uni, but like it just got brought up one time. You went to Bath Uni, and I went, oh, well, fine, all right. Now, okay, I'll do a speech there. Like,
So what would your advice be then to anyone that is passionate or talented at something, but they've not took that step?
Just, I mean, it's the same old advice really, but I mean, it's just like, keep doing it. Just like find every opportunity to do it. And like, do it for yourself. Do it like you're your own business for as long as you can, and then just assume that you're not going to make profit ever.
Yeah.
But like hope that you will. Assume the worst and hope for the best. That should be like the biggest motivator in a way. Like more so, like not to make millions of pounds, but just to not do this, to do something. Like I've always thought my goal was just to be able to make a living, even if that's like just enough to pay the bills off of doing something that I love.
Yeah, well, you don't want to give the best 40 years of your life to something that inevitably you hate. You're working for a boss that you don't really like, colleagues that you tolerate rather than the friends.
Yeah.
So if you can do something that you enjoy, it's half the battle, isn't it?
Exactly. And I think like it's, you know, you're not your job. You're never your job. Even if you get the job you want and you become successful at it, you're not that. Yeah. And I think like the passion is the important thing there. It's not necessarily about how you're making your money. It's about how you distract yourself from what you're doing. It's like you can go to work every single day and it could be miserable, but if you have that goal in mind, if you have that like creativity whirring around your head and you're always thinking of ways to like do the next thing, whatever that is for your passion, then like that's the escapism.
Yeah.
Just the thing is like finding the like pleasure from within and finding the passion. That's what matters.
So if you had support then from your family to pursue this, you know, instead of go and get a proper job, go and get your degree and go and, you know, because I think a lot of people have that kind of pressure, don't they? Like, you want a plan B. So go to university to do geography or go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I had a mix of that because my dad is a director and writer of like kids shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And so from him, I always got like, follow your dream, just do your thing. Like, don't take no for an answer, that kind of thing. Pursue it. My mum is a bit more practical, where she's like, yeah, do your dreams. I love your dreams.
Yeah.
Great idea. Dreams, yeah, brilliant. However, get a job, like, you know, which is fine. Like I might be the same if I had a child. I might be like, yeah, do your thing, but like a safety net. But I think that's okay. Like it's that was never disparaging.
Yeah.
It was just it was concern. Like, but if I got it from both of my parents, it probably would have been a bit more difficult. But my dad was always like pro finding your like
probably
niche
a better
stuff.
balance to have.
Yeah, it's a good balance to have. Like, you need to be told to be practical because you do have to pay bills.
Yeah.
And it also teaches you about not being ashamed, because like this is the thing with both sides of it. Like there are some people who I know who are like actors, jobbing actors, who have like, you know, now and then they have a really big role and they'll get 10 grand for it, and that might be a month, and then 2 months later they'll get a job and it's 20 grand or something, but they never know when that next thing's definitely coming in. And some people, you know, they have to take a job on the side as well, like, you know, whatever that graft is, working at a bar, working at crazy golf, like working at whatever you want to do, because you need to do it. And like having both sides of it from my parents is like, you don't need to be ashamed about this bit. Yeah. This bit of like doing the thing to actually make you pay your bills and have a comfortable enough life. People get ashamed of it because it doesn't look like success.
Yeah.
But they're too worried about what it looks like to other people looking in, going, oh, that's what we were saying earlier, you know, oh, he's working in a bar, he was on TV the other day, oh, he can't be that good, he must have just got lucky. It's like, no, he's here because he has the money to put into his career. He's working here to fund this. And if he wasn't, then you wouldn't see him at all in that show you saw the other day.
But you'll find that all the time. There are a lot of the critics of people that will say that would never even take that step or take that chance or put themselves out there to potentially achieve that thing anyway. So
100%. Yeah.
Wankers, that's what I call them.
Dickheads.
Yeah.
You.
So what about previous employees then? So you obviously doing a proper job. Did they not like all the extracurricular stuff you're doing outside of?
Do you know what? They loved it.
Yeah.
It was, I swear, like when I was younger, when I was like 12, I went to a like extracurricular acting school, and I got into like to be an extra in Harry Potter films, and always put it on my CV so that like employers knew that was something I wanted to do. And it was like kind of quirky to put like, oh, I was in the, whatever, I was in Ravenclaw. I started to realize after a while that was why I was getting interviews, was because people were like interested in that side. And I wasn't going for anything like, you know, I wasn't looking to be like a C-level manager or anything. I was just looking to be like sales admin or, you know, sales assistant or something like that, just to like pay the bills. And so like, if anything, they quite liked it. They were like, oh, if you ever make it, then like we can say that you worked here, kind of thing, like,
makes sense.
Because they don't think of success as, like I say, they think you're going to be like a Hollywood actor. They don't think you're going to be like someone who comes up now and then in the bill and makes a living off that, or Casualty or Emmerdale. They're thinking, oh, he's going to be on the. You're
the Caniston duo girl. Oh
yeah, exactly.
You're the thrush girl.
But that's a sick gig to get. So yeah, they were quite like cool about it, and like I was making. I remember when I was working for a place called ckhead. Shout out ckhead. with a fella named Barry Reed, who was like one of the best bosses I ever had, really. He loved the fact that I did rap. And he's this sort of like, he was like 55 and like, you know, a bit old school salesy, and like, he loved it. He was just like so supportive of it. And I think like I needed that a lot. And like, it made me feel valued at my job.
Yeah.
That someone else was like, you know what, that's cool that you've got this thing going for you. I'd love to come see it. Like, I'd love to support it. You need that for your staff because they feel like, oh shit, I'm valued. Like, I'm not just a cog in a machine. I'm actually valued by this guy.
There'll be a few bosses out there making you take annual leave days if you had to go to, say, Canada to battle on King of the Dot. Or make sure it comes out with annual leave. Or it's unpaid. You can take it, but it's unpaid. Did you have that, or was it?
No, I just
a mix.
Like, it's a mix. It's like over the years, like, I don't know. I was at a lot of places like call centers where you can just take your own day. So I just just took it off work for free because it's just like easier than. I also don't like telling that many people what I do. Yeah. Like when someone's like, "Oh, what do you do?" and I'm like, if I'm unemployed at that time, then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm a battle rapper." Yeah. And they're like, "Oh yeah." And then they'll either go like 8 Mile, or they'll go, "Yeah, do us a rap then," and I go, "Oh, come back in 2 months when I've written it, and then you know, let's meet here in 2 months and we'll have a go." Or like, or they're just like, "What on earth do you mean?" Like, wow, what do you mean you're a battle rapper?
It's one of them things. If you're a singer, unless you're good or you're known, everyone thinks it's a bit cringy. Yeah. Battle rap, same thing. Comedian, tell me a joke.
100%.
It's one of them. It's the worst things you can get. I get on the playgrounds when people ask me what I do.
What are you doing on playgrounds?
I don't have kids. So when I'm on the playgrounds, just browsing. I get asked what do I do for a living, and it's hard to explain what Mike Winnet is, number one.
Yeah.
And then what I find is, when you say, "Oh, so you know, have you ever heard of Grant Cardone? Have you ever heard of Tony Robbins?" And they go, "Oh yeah, fuck, I love him stuff." It's like, I am everything that you hate. Yeah. You know, I take the piss out of people like you and him, and they're like, "What? And you get paid for this?" It's like, no, I don't even get paid for it. I literally do it for a laugh.
I've seen a lot of the things that you've put up about like people doing good deeds, and then putting up about like, today I saw a woman who was struggling, and so I went up to her and I said, "Hey," and it's like, as soon as you Facebookify it or LinkedInify it, it undervalues it so much. Yeah. And I think that and if you're doing that, then the very fact that I've seen you put up like 2 means that you've done 2 good deeds ever. Like, like do more. Like if you, I don't know, it's just like you do a good deed because like it's almost by definition selfless. Yeah. That's the idea, is that you're putting yourself out to make someone else's life a bit easier, and then hope that they'll do it for someone else. So the very fact that you're making it selfish and getting likes from it, it's just like, well, then what was the real purpose of doing that? Is it because you're being the change you want to see in the world, or is it because you're going, "Oh, I'll get some likes for this"? Well,
some are worse than others, aren't they? Some are more blatant than others. If anything, I prefer the full on in your face. I am a full on wanker. I prefer them because at least he's not even hiding it. Yeah, he's not even subtly dropped in that humble, you know, like hey, look,
the humble brag thing.
What's mad is I've said this recently. About a year ago, 18 months ago, it was people were doing stuff for homeless, and it was really mad shit. It's like, oh, I gave 2 Next blazers from a suit that doesn't fit me anymore to 4 homeless people. Now it's Uber drivers. Everyone talks about how amazing Uber drivers are. Oh, he's an Uber driver by day, but he's a brain surgeon by night, or he's a life coach. It's like, is he? Or is he an Uber driver? But it's just like, as in, aren't I a nice guy because I'll talk to my taxi driver? It's like, but that's like, not a thing to brag about.
That's the thing. And like people, I remember those videos where people going around to like homeless people and being like, you know, here's $100, and then the guy's like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Thank you so much." And it's like, well, I saw someone a little while ago outside Euston train station. It was a guy. He was clearly quite like wealthy. I don't know where he'd come from, but there was 2 pillars outside of each side of the station, right? And he walks past and he talks to a homeless person who sat down there, and he's talking to him. I can't hear what he's saying, but he's clearly like nodding and sort of like appreciating things like that. And then I see him get out a 20 and give it to the person. I'm thinking, oh, that's quite nice. That's obviously like, you know, nice of him. You know, regardless, nice thing to do. But then he just walks past the next one. If you give that to a charity, then that goes to like everyone equally, but that's not as much of a gesture, and like people don't see it enough. And you can't just take a screenshot of your Halifax like outgoing standing payments and be like, look at that, see, £70 a month, aren't I good? Yeah. It doesn't look as good, so you have to be in a restaurant and like, hey, come over here, you didn't seem very happy with your job, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you $100 tip. He cries, film him crying, he's crying, we've got to get him.
Yeah, everybody
like, leave him alone.
It's some spontaneous ones where they've got 4 cameras set up so they get all different angles of the shot. It's like, how long has that guy been sat there with his homeless sign? I saw one yesterday actually about some guy comes up and goes, hey, I've got a couple of friends with me, one cuts hair, one does one's a dentist. As if like you've just got a dentist and a hairdresser just like walking around America.
Butcher, a baker.
And he goes,
Just didn't make it.
Are you okay if we just like, get you to feel good about yourself and give you a makeover? And the guy goes, yeah, okay then. And I'm thinking, has anyone told him not to talk to strangers?
Yeah.
He's like a kid. And now he's going off with like literally all these tradespeople to go have a full on makeover, an extension built on his house, his car fixed and all sorts of shit. It's just like unreal. But that's what the internet's created now, isn't it? It's like, look at me. This is the impression I want people to have of me rather than this is the type of person I really am. Yeah,
people only do things to be known as someone who does those things.
Ian sponsors someone. What do you sponsor, Ian? You sponsor like a dolphin or something, don't you?
And dolphin?
No, but I've told him, right? Listen, he pays like £3 a month, and I've said that dolphin will never die. They're just going to send you pictures of this other dolphin because they want you £3 a month. Do you know what I mean? What is it you sponsor?
Right,
So one thing I would say as the main reason people don't pursue their dream or passion is fear of failure. So I was wondering if you'd ever struggled with that or that made itself apparent with you.
Yeah, like all the time. But I don't think it's a negative thing necessarily. Like I remember when I first started and I went back for the, I did the freestyle thing, which was like junk courage kind of thing. So it didn't really count. But then when I went back the next time to do my first written battle, I was fucking terrified.
Wait.
And I've got more scared each battle that I've had. I've had about 35 battles, and people always tell you get used to being on stage in that kind of scenario. I get more nervous each time. I shake. I like physically shake in fear. Like in my head, I kind of feel all right, but my body betrays me. I'm like this the whole time. Like you can even see in battle sometimes I'm like doing something specifically and you can see my hand shaking. I have to drink water like this, go down to it like that, because if I go it like that, it will fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird, but like I get more and more nervous every battle I do because like the pressure gets more. You've got more people watching that time. You realize it's about branding and that kind of thing. But the thing that my dad always said, who, like I say, was very supportive in this kind of thing, was like, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, embrace it. It's fine. You will, whatever way this goes, if it goes amazing, if it goes terrible, a week down the line, you'll probably basically have forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And like, the fear of failure is just that on a bigger scale. Like, if you're looking at it in like a 5-year plan, you go, well, if I start now in 5 years, then maybe I could have made, this thing that I want to do a success. But then you go, oh, but what if it doesn't happen? Like, what if I fuck it up? And then everyone's going to see me as someone who failed and goes back here. There is no shame in failing. There's no shame in never succeeding. Just do it anyway.
I saw a post that you did on LinkedIn about that, being more nervous as the more you've progressed. And it's interesting because from an outsider looking in or someone that sees you on YouTube, it's like you'd think you'd grow in confidence and your nerves would disappear. Do you think you've almost set a standard for yourself now and people expect certain things from you? It's almost like you've created that environment.
Exactly, yeah.
If you're shit at doing something and you turn up and you're a little less shit next time, I was like, oh, he's done well.
Exactly.
It's like Man City now, with football references. Right. If Man City don't win the league, that's seen as a failure. But 5 years ago, if Man City didn't get relegated, that was seen as success.
Exactly,
but it's like the goalposts have moved for them.
Yeah.
Football references.
You create the situation in which you're in, and like I feel it every time. The reason I get more nervous is because I think, say the last one didn't go so great, you can't have 2 bad ones in a row because that's a streak. Then you're in a losing streak. And then people expect that to continue. And like I've had a couple of battles where there's been like, they've sort of get interviews with people beforehand to be like, who do you think's going to win? People being like, oh, Shuffle's going to kill it. He's going to kill this other guy. And then I was like, well, there it is. Like, I can basically not win now. Yeah. Because all these people are going, oh, he's amazing. He's going to smash it out of the water. And I know that the other guy's actually quite good, but they're asking people who are like mega fans. Yeah. And so I know the other guy's quite good. So when he comes in and he does quite a good opening round, if my stuff isn't like way above where he is, which is already good, then I'm going to look like I'm scraping it. And even scraping it's bad to people.
Yeah,
they're
well, debatable, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's a debatable, which is a shame. It's
do you prefer going second then? Or first? Because would you rather get your stuff off first then?
I prefer going first.
Or your nerves?
Partly for the nerves, but also because it's better to like establish the room. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, if I do jokey stuff, right? Like I'm trying to be all like sarky and silly and stuff. But usually the other person is, going to be quite serious. And so if they go first, they're kind of setting it up to be quite serious. And then
it's hard energy to change, isn't
exactly. You have to work it a bit more. Whereas if you just come out and you go, what the fuck are you doing here? And then like people are going to be like, the tension's broken, I can laugh now.
Yeah.
And then that person is going to try and make them go serious, but they're like, oh, we're in the mood to laugh at the moment, mate.
Right now, I could get Shuffle to take off his shoe for me, put his face on it stupidly, and inhale like he's Scuba Steve. Yeah! What? What's this?
Yeah.
So that's why I like.
You look a bit of a cock being aggressive when I've just
exactly.
joking
I'm
about
just
you for
going,
2
hey,
minutes.
oh, don't ever go at me.
Yeah. It's interesting. I suppose if you're good at flips or rebuttals, like obviously you want to go second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what most people do. Most people choose to go second, but I always think first is best. But
especially if yours is so well rehearsed, it's just like I just need to get it out and without any stumbles, because he might say something that takes away what you're going to say. Anyway,
and the fear starts to dissipate for me about if the first round goes well.
Yeah. Then
the fear starts to ease off.
Yeah.
Like all the fear is like concentrated in that first half a round, really, where I'm just like, shit, what if I fuck up? What if something goes wrong? And then you just do it, and then you get to the other side and you go, you were fine, mate.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine in the next round, and it's going to be fine in the third round. You're okay.
So would you say you're your own biggest critic then? Do you look back at your performances and think, oh, I could have done that better? That wasn't quite as...
Yeah, I think so. Like I look back at a lot of my early stuff and I realized that I was like rushing through myself and just like not allowing the punchlines to breathe and not allowing any time for people to react. And that was something I learned way later on, like about 5 years in, I'd say. I really started to get the pacing where it's like, if you deliver a line or, you've got 4 bars and you want to tell a story through 4 lines and you go, establish, let it happen, let it hang. Like, make a joke about it, let it go. Make a serious point, make a bigger joke.
Yeah.
And like each one of those has to be like timed quite nicely and you have to like meter them out and then... because otherwise, if you're rushing through them, people only hear like the last couple of words, and then they might clap out of like because they hear the cadence. But you want them to be like, "Oh, I get what you're doing now. I see the structure of it."
Yeah.
So I think like
there's a science behind it, really, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there is to an extent. And but I'm definitely my biggest critic. I think like, and I'm one of those people who's like madly affected by YouTube comments and stuff like that. Like, and I know it's stupid. Everyone says, "Oh, don't read the comments." It's like, well, all right, it's one thing to say that, and then it's another thing to be like, well, they're here, and I just want to take a look and see what people are saying.
Ricky Gervais said, to lead the orchestra, you got to turn your back to the audience. But if you're saying you read the YouTube comments, I was actually going to ask you about that. I think they're a goldmine for just people's points of view. You're only about 2 comments away from it being racist or whatever. It's like it's always brought out, or because obviously it's different in the room as it is when you watch it back on YouTube. So do you write with the intention for how it's going to come across in the room or YouTube or?
Sometimes, like I always think what's more like, I always think it's more important what happens in the room.
Is that because you're amongst peers?
To an extent, but also because if the crowd are reacting a lot, then it's more watchable online. So like you're really killing 2 birds with 1 stone by focusing on the room, because a lot of people write and they say things like, a lot of this stuff's going to go over people's head, but when they watch it back, they're going to really like it. And it's like, well, that's true. You probably do have it. Yeah, exactly. One of these. It's like, you probably do have a fan base who are going to watch it and are going to pick up on those things. But like for the greater mass of people, if that matters to you, they're going to be reacting to how the crowd react. If the crowd goes mental, they're not going to be there like that. And if the crowd is dead, they're not going to be clapping at home and going, oh my God, that's amazing, I remember that line. They're going to go, this is a dead audience, so it's probably a dead battle. So I'm not going to watch it, or I'm not going to engage in it.
So have you got any standout shitty comments, off YouTube? Is there any that have stuck with you? Don't name them, don't give them.
Yeah. All right, Mike Gimmick, 4592 said this on the 17th of September. No, I don't know. There's loads. There's just like... I'm one of those people who can see like 100 positive comments and 1 negative comment, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
You've probably not watched it. I've got kids, so I watched...
I'm watching Kids.
Wreck-It Ralph. No, Kids.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it. It's
the
great.
second one.
Oh, no, not the second one, no.
So the second one is mad, really, like the film, but they go into... He wants to buy some from Amazon, he needs credits or whatever, so he tries to go viral.
Right.
And he posts loads of videos, and it's like, him opening surprise boxes and all sorts of shit. And the advice he was given, so he reads the comment, it's like, Wreck-It Ralph's an idiot, Wreck-It Ralph looks fat, he's a dickhead, blah, blah, blah. And the woman says to him, never read the YouTube comments, because very rarely people are going to say nice things about people. It's easier to say something negative or derogatory about someone than it is to say, oh, actually, I was entertained, but that was quite good.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. So they always say that. We actually looked for some negative comments, didn't we? But we struggled, didn't we?
For
for the one battle of yours we've ever seen. No. So we actually looked for. Is there any there that we thought? Oh,
well, I'll get them removed.
Report and block.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I saw in your battle with C Major and Cracker.
Yeah, sure.
I thought Marlo did that bit about Cracker reacting in the back of a taxi.
The comments. Yeah.
But I can imagine people doing that.
Yeah,
Did you take it personally? You've fucking crafted that stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Exactly.
And on the journey to Plymouth, I was next to this guy. Imagine the following, but for the length of the drive. Who the fuck is Kennedy Spike, 75, and why is he saying I'm desperate for hype? Fuck it, that's it, I'm pressing dislike. That'll send a message for Christ. How pathetic is that prick telling me lies? I love how they think they're gonna get to me, guys. Yeah. You can see him in the crowd during the battle and he's on his phone. He's not taking notes so he can judge around on content. He's on his old English battle, thumbing down the comments.
But it affects me, but I don't necessarily take it on board. It just it just upsets me. It's more like, oh, that's a shame that someone said that, and it might dampen my mood for an hour or something. But it's not like I'm gonna be pulling my hair out over it. Like people don't, not everyone's going to like what you do. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But it is interesting to see it though, because some people do put constructive stuff there.
Yeah.
Some people do say the reason why you lost, and they spell out for you, and you're like, actually, well, this guy's probably watched 1 million battles. He probably knows what he's talking about. So it's not like one size fits all, where it's like, if it's a negative comment, then I'll just ignore it. Oh, they're haters. I think, well, it's just someone expressing their opinion. It's weird, but then it's weird to me to leave a positive one. I would never leave a positive message on someone's battle. I'd always leave it. Maybe on a Facebook status, but never on something that I've watched where there's 1 million views. I'm never going to be like, this was really good, because there's no need.
Yeah,
I might thumb it up or
I'm the
something,
same with thumbs down. I've watched stuff on the internet and I don't think it's very good, but I've not seen anything that I just think I'm going to leave a thumbs down here. I just won't leave a thumbs up. It's just I'll watch it.
If it's bad enough, if it's something horrible, then flag it. If it's a beheading or something.
Yeah.
I love when people thumb down those.
Yeah.
It's like, you thumbed down a beheading. What, did you not like the technique?
Yeah.
Or was it the whole thing? But flag that. Don't thumb it down.
You get it in behind the windpipe.
Yeah, and then go down. But yeah, I mean, it's weird for me to be like, yeah, I'm going to thumb this down. It's like, well, why would I make that person who's making that? Maybe if it's something that really, 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 something racist or something but again, I'd flag that and say this should be looked at, rather than be like, oh, I'm gonna thumb it down. Let that person do their thing.
With the Mike Winnet thing, I've been doing Mike Winnet on LinkedIn for nearly 2 years, and I've found that when I've been doing the parody business stuff and some of the jokes and making observations about business and motivational speakers and influencers and entrepreneurs and stuff, people like it. But as soon as you start to then do something a bit more substance and that, it's like, oh, you've sold out, you've gone away. So I wondered if you'd had anything like that since you've started to make money, especially with the book coming out and stuff. But since you've tried to make money from your passion, if you've had any negative feedback.
There's been a few, yeah. I remember a few years ago, we did a battle with, sponsored by Oreos. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cringe as fuck.
How did that happen though? Did they approach you, or did you?
No, they got in touch with Don't Flop the League, and then they were like, right, do you have anyone? They were doing a huge thing across loads of different YouTube channels, and they were just going, these guys will do something, these guys will do something, and they saw the idea of two people going off against each other, and they're like, oh, we'll have a lick race. So as you're battling, you'll be licking an Oreo, But Oreo, if you're trying to get between me and my friend and not give him back, it isn't neat. You'll make me hit with our vicious and malicious streak. I'll snip and snap this biscuit freak, even if you are a brilliant and delicious treat.
Someone sat there and gone, this is a great idea.
I know, someone okayed that. We're rapping about how we're the better licker of Oreos. Oh God, I can't even say it. Something I've got loads of people saying, loads is an exaggeration, but enough to affect me. People saying I can't believe you sold out like that. I can't believe you'd sell out. And I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking, mate, I got 350 quid for that.
Yeah.
I'm not selling out. I'm not Kate Winslet doing an advert for British Airways where you've got enough money. Why are you doing that? That's selling. To an extent, I get it. Also, they're just a worker. They're just working. They're just working a sick job, but they're keeping in work. But I get that. You might think oh, that's a sellout move.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
No.
Do you know what I mean? When
No,
I'm
no.
getting 350 quid from Oreos and a free packet of double stuffed Oreos, like I'm not feeling like, oh, what a baller. I'm gonna strut my stuff and buy a fur
Still
coat.
spending that Oreo money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
the Oreos themselves. Just going to strip clubs, like, yeah, dance. I was more like, this was just a little opportunity that came to me. I'm not like, if anything, like, I was more selling out when I was just working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, yeah.
If by that standard, people are saying like, oh, he's just taking what he does and he's like putting it in this way. Like, oh, he shouldn't do that. It's like, well, why are you making the rules? Because when I go to work every day and I work for a call center, I'm not doing any of my talents, but I'm making money off that. Like, is that bad to you? Like,
Well, I say this, right? Those people that will accuse you of selling out, it's a strange concept anyway, because they're probably sat in work watching your battles, or whether it be you post jokes or whatever, reading your jokes or being entertained by you on company time.
yeah.
They're getting paid to watch you, in essence.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to make money from doing the thing that they enjoy you doing and you enjoy doing. That's seen as you selling out. It's this weird concept to me, that.
It's also like they just don't get how the industry works. Like, it's like, do you think that when like Migos come out in, you know, new trainers, that they bought those and that someone went, oh yeah, go into Foot Locker, yeah, I'll sell you these and then you can wear them in your video. That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
No, they're getting paid to wear that. Like,
Yeah.
and not just Migos. I don't know why that was the first one that came to my mind, but like, that's rap. It's like there's there's sponsorships everywhere. Like people who are Instagram influencers who get sent free clothes
Yeah,
and
of
then
course.
wear it and take a picture. It's like, well, that's just what happens. People do that, and like if someone's on a lower scale, which I definitely was at that, like I was on a lower rung compared to anyone, and to be given a little opportunity, that's nice. That's cool. You
Yeah.
should be like, congratulations. Not
Someone that I support and I like what they do, they're now
has been given an opportunity to do something.
But also, they weren't paying you. You're not asking me to pay you £350 so I can watch you rap about Oreos. You know what I mean?
No
so
one
like,
would.
So why the fuck would it bother me anyway? Like
Yeah.
that you're going to make a little bit of money.
Why
it's
do
so
you
mad.
have a problem with a multi-million-dollar company going, here's £350? Like, it's no skin off their nose. They're fine.
So do you think there's certain things that if you do, it will damage the brand that you've created? Because we're in a bit of a conundrum at the moment where we think, oh, we could easily do X, Y, Z, but then people saying, oh, you've sold out to do that. Well, it's not. We've not sold out. I was wondering if you thought it can damage your personal brand.
I think so. Like, you've got to pick your projects and you've got to assume, like, no matter what you think, you've got to assume how other people are going to think. You know, when you're thinking about branding,
Yeah.
that's basically... For me, branding means what other people think of you.
Yeah.
That's all it means to me. And so, like, I guess you've got to take into account, if you're trying to build a brand, how they're going to respond in that instance. If you take an opportunity that you think is fine, but they might not. And I kind of learned that from the Oreo thing. Like, you know, you have to kind of predict how these people are going to react. But like,
you can still make money and be authentic. Isn't
of
it?
course,
That's what
of course. Chance the Rapper, for example, is someone who, like, you know, he didn't sign to a label and he's doing very well, and you know, there's hundreds of examples of people who keep their integrity and make lots of money, and it's not a bad thing. Like,
I would say 99.9% of those people that would call you a sellout, they're almost, not jealous is the wrong word, but you've done something they're not willing to do. You're willing to quit the 9 to 5 and make a career from it. You can only do it if you make money, but they're happy to call you a sellout. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't really. Yeah.
And you know they do the same thing. If they were given an opportunity,
of course, yeah.
Like say, maybe not Oreos, other biscuits are
wouldn't,
available. But say if
Bourbons.
Tuck came out, and Tuck said, "Here you go, here's $1,000. We just want you to do a 4 or 5 minute video on Tuck." Of course they'd do it.
Yeah.
You think, what, $1,000 for 4 minutes work?
Naturally.
I'll take the money.
Yeah. And it's like I got it was even like some negativity around some stuff that I was just doing for my personal brand. Like, I remember a few years ago, I couldn't believe that no one else had done this before. But I started making like personalized battle rap videos for people.
Yeah.
Where I would say, like, if you've got a birthday coming up, or if you know someone who's a big fan, then just message me through like the Shuffle Tea company and just like give me loads of information on them. And I did the first couple for free just to sort of like drum up some awareness, and then started charging more and more and more. But I was just like, I'll just make a proper, like, as if I was battling them, a 3-minute round.
Yeah.
Like personalized to them, and I got quite a few like sales from it, but a lot of people were like, oh, hashtag when BBC 3 aren't calling you back. And I was like, what? Like, why are you like
For actually coming up with almost like an original idea.
Yeah, like I'm coming up with something new. I'm trying to make money out of something I love to do. That's the dream. Like, why would you see anything wrong with that? It's like the book, you know, the book I'm working on at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, there's some people who it's a rhyming dictionary, right? And so like a lot of people sort of say things like, oh, this is cheating if you've got a rhyming dictionary. And I always think like, is it cheating if you're writing an essay and you use a regular dictionary? Or is it cheating if you're like trying to work out a mathematical theory and you use a calculator? Would people be like, yeah, he worked out like Fermat's theorem, but he used a calculator, so I'm not really happy with that. Like, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can have your name on the front, but I don't really like it. Like, come on. Like, and also like rhyming dictionaries aren't designed to be like, you look at rhymes and then you lift them and then you put them in here and then you go, that's a rap.
Yeah.
It's meant to be like a place for inspiration. You know, half the book is a workbook.
Yeah.
So that you put your own, and it's designed to make you want to put your own things down. And so you make your own things out of it, not just lift stuff from it. So it's like, people always want to find something wrong with what you're doing. And like, I get it. And I have no problem talking to those people. I never like shy away from it or be like, oh, fuck you. You don't get what it is. You don't know what you're talking about. I always go, well, can you tell me why you think it's cheating?
Yeah.
And they go, oh, well, everyone's just going to be using this book and they're just going to rip the lines. And I go, well, then they're bad writers, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're not going to sound like you.
No, exactly.
It's like, it's the words, aren't they?
There's so much more to rap than rhyming words. Like, if it was just about rhyming words, then, you know, I'd be a rapper. I can't, you know, I do battle rap. I can't rap because I can't ride a beat confidently enough. I haven't got any rhythm. Yeah. And so like, it's such a bigger picture than just like words that rhyme. And like, you know, if people are just lifting directly from it, then those are writers you don't want anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Or they're at the beginning of their writing adventure and they're gonna get better. They're gonna realize.
Think of it like this then. So another alternative for you to make money from what you do is you could just ghostwrite rounds for people, right? Yeah. That's cheating.
Yeah.
If you wanted on that concept, because you're doing everything for them.
Yeah.
Giving them just the rhyming words and they've got to fill the rest in themselves. It's kind of like a crossword puzzle.
I have done that as well though, ghostwriting.
I was going to say, but the book actually makes more sense. No. It makes more sense, by the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Because if you ghostwrite one round, then number one, that was a round you could use yourself, but also you do it once, you sell it once. But if you've got the book, you can sell it many times. So that as a business sense, the book makes far more sense.
Yeah, definitely.
For me anyway.
And also, I just think like part of like, because I've been forced to think about it quite a lot by people asking questions about it, and I've been forced to think about like ways to justify it and stuff as well. And
fuck them, just say that. Oh, fuck you. Don't buy it then. Right.
Yeah,
How long has it taken you to write? Because it's a book that's got no ending, has it?
It's been 7 years in the making. As I'm writing it, I'm getting better at my craft. And so I look back over the first half of the book and I realize it's all trash by my standards now, so I can't keep it in. Yeah. So I get rid of it and then you rewrite it and then a year goes past and you go again, you look back and you go, that's bad. But I've kind of, you know, not to sound like a twat, but like I've kind of plateaued. I think like I'm not going to get much better at rhyming words than I am now. I've got it down to like a kind of a science. I know exactly what I do with it and I know exactly where I want it to be. And so now that's why it's kind of like finished at this kind of time.
So we were writing a book and when we were looking at getting it published, we spoke to, it was kind of like a halfway house where they do your front cover, they would edit it, they would proofread it and stuff like that. And they'd then put it out and make it available to people. And it was interesting. So the book was called The Entrepreneur. She thought it was a really interesting concept. And it was to kind of show how easy it was to create a fake persona, motivational speaker, and how far you could take that lie.
Yeah.
The woman that wanted us to use her to publish our book told us that what you want to do is let us publish it for you and we will make you become an Amazon bestseller. So we said, oh, that's interesting. How does that happen? They were going to pick a really niche category or section to put the book on Amazon.
Right.
And drop the price to 99p for 48 hours and it would be based on sales for that 48-hour period. And she said, the great thing is you can be an Amazon bestseller for just selling 80 books.
80?
80.
Right.
And I said, you know the book's called The Entrepreneur. And you're now telling us a way to like fake being an Amazon bestseller. I want to be an Amazon bestseller because I've sold the most fucking books. Yeah, no. Not because I've sold 80 books at 99p. It just like defeats the whole object of fucking writing a book.
Boot.
I know, exactly. So I was just wondering, like, you've obviously not used a woman like this. So what have you done to get the book published?
So I went through Unbound, which is like a crowdfunding publisher, basically. So like they take quite like a lot of obscure things, a lot of like nichey things that most publishers would sort of be like, oh, there's not a big enough market for that, so they can't see how they're going to make money from it. But this, because all the money is crowdfunded, there's almost no risk for them. Yeah. If it doesn't reach its target and it sort of, fades out, then everyone just gets their money back and they've invested no money. But if it does reach it, they basically become your full-time publisher. All that money that normally a publisher would put into the initial production and editing and proofreading and design and all those kind of aspects, and actually printing them as well, is like taken off their hands, and it's just like gathered, and it shows them that there's an audience for the book.
Yeah.
If you can fund it, then it shows that people are interested in it enough to put in X amount of money.
It's proof of concept then, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Just like it's sort of set up a bit like Kickstarter, but specifically for books. So there's like, if you pledge 20 quid, then you get a copy, like a hardback copy, and if you pledge, I think there's.
So they're going to get a copy of the book if they pledge.
The minimum you get is
the book anyway. So it's not just like throwing you money for no reason.
No, it's not like a donation. It's like it's basically like a slightly inflated price of the book. The book will probably sell for between like £10 and £15 when it's on the shelf, but buying it for £20 is going, right, you're going to get the book when it's made, and you're just sort of helping out with a little bit extra as well, just to sort of like get it off the ground.
We'll put the links in the description. We've donated. Is it donated?
Yeah, yeah.
It? Pledged?
Pledged? No, I don't remember you pledging. No.
We did.
No. I'd remember.
So you know what's going to happen now then? For the next couple of years, it's just going to be people buying your book and then using your own rhymes against you.
Yeah.
But at least you can stand there and think, well, at least I got fucking paid to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't have that big a problem with it. It would be sick if people started like using that kind of thing against me, because I'd know what's coming, and I'll probably like I'll predict it ahead of time anyway, and I'll just be like, oh, if anyone does that, I'll just like finish off the rhyme scheme for them. But it's like it's happened to me before when I was doing like ghostwriting and writing for just like when I had the Shuffle Tea Company thing, and I had people like asking, oh, can you co-write this for me? Can you help with this? And like I had a battle in London in the Roundhouse Theatre. And it was like poets versus battle rappers, and there's this guy called Harry Baker and Craft D, who are two like amazing poets. If you like, you should check them out. They're both amazing. And at the time, because I was doing all this ghostwriting, he contacted me under a different username, so I didn't know it was him. And Marlo, who I do the battle raps with, his real name is Theo, and he's kind of balding a bit. And the guy messaged me and was like, oh, I'm doing a best man speech for my best friend's wedding, and I want to do a little rap bit about it, like 8 bars, just about him. Like his name's Leo, and he's balding. And I was like, okay, yeah. So I wrote all this stuff, about him being bald and like, stuff like that. Oh, he's quite skinny. I've got that bit in there. And then it came around to the day of the battle, and I had no idea. And it was like halfway through, and they're going through their round, and then he starts saying this thing like, oh, you're as bald as an egg, like, it's just a ball on your head and stuff like that. And I was like, I was just whispering, I fucking wrote this.
Well, how's this for a best man speech?
Let me think. You've got a ping pong ball for a head. It's as bald as an egg.
Could have grown it out before so it falls to your neck, but now you have to comb it over all to the left.
I mean, there is some hair left on your very thin head, but if you shaved it for charity, you'd raise about 26 pence. Good part. That's a good part. Yeah, I know.
But I was like, I couldn't place it because I wasn't like taking track of everything. I was like, did I say this in a battle at some point, like before?
Yeah.
And they just like rehash it. I was so confused. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then they sort of like explain, like, we messaged you and we got this thing done. And I was like, at the end, I was really, really pissed off. Like, we're all fine now. We're all like really good friends and stuff. But I was like really pissed off because I felt betrayed. And then I was like,
and you'd buried your best mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think about you, Leo.
But Theo. I was like, well, they did still pay like 30, 40 quid for that. So
who's the real winner?
I could take that on their head. That's fine. 40 quid.
You are turning your customers into competitors, and that is a shit business move, by the way.
Yeah. But that's all right, isn't it? But that's fine. I want more people to get. If people are interested in rap and they want to do it, then good. Like I want my customers to become competitors in a way. Yeah, I think it's a cool thing to have. Like
idols become your rivals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was this thing about like I say, I used to be really into magic, right? And there was about, I think, early 2000s, maybe even late 90s, there was this masked magician who was on...
Seen it on Sky.
Yeah, he was on TV, and he would just go like, this is how classic parlor tricks are done. He never gave away his identity. And magicians fucking hated this guy because they were like, oh, he's giving away our best stuff, like, card tricks and stuff. Oh, I can't do that card trick now because someone might have seen this and know it's done. And there was two groups of people. There was a group of people who got just pissed off and just carried on doing their stuff, but they were pissed off. And there was another group of people who went, well, okay, the game's changed. We've got to up our game.
Yeah.
We can't do these old tricks that people have been doing for years and years and years. We've got to come up with a new genre. And so then it became like sleight of hand was the cool thing. Like, you're no longer going to people, I'm a magician and I'm doing magic tricks. The cool thing would be to say, I'm a card technician, and I can make these things do things through skill that you won't be able to see. And so it like upped everyone's game, and it made this amazing new like world of magic, which is still like kicking off now, where people are doing really, really technically amazing things, and they're going, this isn't magic, you know it's not magic, I'm just sick with cards. And people like that more, I think.
I was saying we're more intelligent now.
Yeah.
So I think we know it's not magic. We don't believe it's magic. Like, we know wrestling's fake. We're not watching it thinking it's real. Wrestling's fake. Predetermined sports entertainment.
Yeah. I know. I know.
Sorry, man.
It's fine, mate.
All right. Should we cut so you can take a break? Let's get over there.
Breaking news. No, but it's weird though, because like I always think, well, people know this kind of thing, but there are so many people who think that me and Marlo, when we're doing battle raps, they're going back and forth. I'm finishing off his lines, going back. Da, 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 da.
Our rehearsal game is off the chain. Our fucking practice game doesn't even have a chain a man could break. One of us would just be kind of saying some stuff, and the next person would just be kind of making it up, and before you know it, the synchronization is done, and we're basically one. Mate! Mate! Just shut up! Oh, for fuck's... This isn't...
They're like, how'd you come up with that on the spot? On the spot. And I'm going, no. We've been writing this for months, and we've like blocked it and choreographed it. Like, there's no... The only bits that are like impromptu are the little like rebuttals when someone says something, you go, you just said this, and then you respond with something. Like, they might get 2 or 4 lines out, but like, people think it's all freestyled and that we're coming up and that we just have such a level of like friendship and chemistry that we can just... No,
it's uncanny.
Yeah,
I think you just finish each other's sentences.
Like, obviously, when it was freestyle, like, it was amazing, and people could do things like in that same sort of vein, but it was nowhere near the level of like, you know.
Well, look at say when and Archaic were doing the WRC stuff, and Ilmac and Thesaurus.
Yeah, it's
like they were good freestyle battlers, but in the written format, I mean, it's different for Thesaurus and Ilmac. Some of their written stuff's amazing, but it's a completely different game.
Yeah,
it's almost like, if I say boxing, it's like professional boxing compared to amateur boxing. It's like completely different, even though it's a similar kind of sport. You know, and I think it is now how good your writing skills are and how you can get your material out and perform it and stumbles. Like back in the old days as well, if you choked, it was game over. You lost that round. Didn't matter how good the rest of your round was.
Yeah, you couldn't win the battle. No. And it's like, it was an interesting turn, that whole like time when it went from freestyle to written era, which was about 2007, 2008, where like people stopped doing freestyle battles and started doing written ones. It was basically because people were coming in with written stuff. Yeah. And people were really good at freestyle, so you didn't know who was doing what. And so they were like, it's genius, really. They were like, well, to avoid people cheating, we'll just make everyone have to write it. Yeah. And then you can't, you know, how do you get one up on that? You can't get around.
Imagine being around that time, they're thinking, so I'm going to write my rounds, but because of freestyle, I'm going to deliver it really badly.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
I'll stumble there to make it look more authentic.
I still do it now. Like, sometimes if I know that something's going to come up, like someone's going to be like, oh, you're posh and stuff like that, I'll have something prepared that I know I'm going to say, and I'll like leave a rhyme. I won't think properly through the rhyme, or sort of give myself a bit of a rubbish rhyme, and I'll be like, you said I was posh, and I do that on purpose so that it looks more authentic, and then afterwards when I watch back, I'm like, yo, you're a dickhead, aren't you?
Predetermined rebuttals.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, when he says that word which he's going to mention, I'm going to say this, but you said something about being ginger. Yeah. So
I've seen a bunch of people though who go in with those planned, and then the person doesn't say it, and then they just do it anyway. They're like, you said I was fat, and they're like, no, I fucking didn't. When? Yeah.
I like it when someone doesn't actually do any research and just says like, oh, you might have said this in a battle once. So here's something that rhymes with it.
Someone told me on the grapevine. Yeah.
I was going to say then, so in battle rap, and I've been watching it since probably Jin doing his Freestyle Fridays. I used to love that. I used to sit in and watch that as a grown man. But there's certain moments I see where rappers or battle rappers' careers, it's almost like what would you call it, like a sliding doors moment. I always think like Jefferson Price.
Oh God,
that's a moment where it's like changed him. Yeah, I know, it's horrible. Lux Calico, like looks his rounds.
Yeah.
Professor Shine. I was showing Ian that the other day when I was like nuts, wasn't it? You know, when obviously against
Professor Shine. I
so when
listen to
K
that.
Shine versus DNA would come out and did like, oh, your DNA, two
Oh, I don't
wavy
think I
lines.
actually saw it.
I'm gonna show you how to take this DNA with this DNA and compare it. You use one solid bar and try to make it a setup. Then use words that coincide to make it look better. Then end it with a wavy line so y'all think that he clever. But I don't know how you fucking y'all head up when it's just like this setup. A double helix. 2 wavy lines with little bars in between that keep them together.
That's all that.
It was the first time you saw someone break down DNA and DNA
Right,
in
right,
such
right.
a way. It was like really creative, and it was like that moment where, which is mad now that they obviously teamed up, didn't they?
Yeah.
But like Villain against Yunnan, you mentioned
Yeah.
it. That was hard to watch at times,
Yeah.
but then also entertaining at
Yeah.
the same time. But you could see someone being crushed on camera, wasn't it? It was horrible.
Yeah.
For those of you confused, I'll make it simpler to grasp. At Boombat, Yunnan collapsed in the middle of a park. Woke up and told certain man your mum's a drug addict, and that caused the condition in your heart. So when I heard it, I was listening like, raw. No one told me Brenda's baby was fat, white, or living on a farm.
Clips is third versus Rex. You know, my mother's the real gangster of the family.
Oh,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if you
yeah.
can provide paperwork, I'll give you the 16 racks right now. All that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But I look at your battles and I think, was it the bad bars and compliments battle that you think changed it for you?
100%. Like,
Because that was when I think non-rap battle fans, someone showed me that. I was like, oh, you want to get on this? I was like, you're talking about someone we've been watching for like 5-6 years here. But do you know what I mean? They were like, oh, you'll see these two guys, they're parody rappers, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Look, everyone thinks they're real. Well, they are real.
yeah, that's the interesting thing. Like, a lot of people say that we're like parody, but I think there's a fine line between trying to do something comedically and poke fun at it sometimes and being parody. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Weird Al Yankovic is parody, you know, when
Yeah.
like he just takes a song and then like makes it, or he did like a surgeon, like instead of like a virgin, he was like a surgeon
Yeah.
cutting for the, and it's like, well, he's just sort of like taking a silly idea. No one thinks he's a singer
Yeah.
in the same sense. Like Eminem is a comedic rapper. He's like, or was in the heyday sort of thing. He was like,
When he was good.
yeah, he might be watching this. Don't say that. He probably is because he's a big fan of my stuff. He's not, but like, he was funny, but he wasn't parody, and that's what we were trying to do. We really, really, really love battle rap.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we first got into it, we were like big into it. We weren't trying to parody it and be like, you know, coming as two middle-class white guys and be like, oh, isn't this amusing? Let's make some jokes about that. It was more like, this is amazing. I think we could fit in here, but we're not going to be, if we're like overly serious, then we're not going to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
We have to be fun with it. We have to be like silly and take angles that people wouldn't normally take.
So is that why you were the sort of go-to guys to do those types of battles then? Is that what they asked you, do you think?
I think so. Well, those two ideas, the compliment and the bad bars battle, those were our ideas that we put there.
Oh, good.
Compliment battle had already been done
Yeah.
like a bunch of times, but 2-on-2 I don't think had been like filmed at that
Yeah.
point. And the bad bars one was just like an idea that we had at the same time, and it was for the April Fool's event.
Yeah.
And we did them both on the same day, and they were both the ones that sort of solidified us a spot
Yeah.
in battle rap. And it was kind of like, I remember at the time it was, I wouldn't get, there'd be the odd people who were like hardcore rap fans who would
Yeah.
like it, obviously, but then there was most of it. It's like, oh, I showed my mum that one and she liked
Yeah.
it.
Well, I
Or
suppose it's like
showed
the
my
Grist
girlfriend
battle.
That one. Yeah, exactly.
The Grist
They're like
Blizzard
gateway
battle.
ones.
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely. So what do you think then, if it wasn't going to be that, what was your personal biggest moment in battle rap, do you think?
If it wasn't those two.
Yeah, so what would you say stands out to you as like, oh wow, I can't believe this fucking happened to me,
Oh.
or wow, this is...
It's really obvious actually for me to think that. We got flown out to Toronto to battle Kid Twist. How much bigger can this get
Yeah.
for me, like personally? And there was a moment when I was outside and I was having a smoke and these two Escalades pulled up. This is like really early on in the day, and I was like, fuck, there's two like black tinted Escalades. And then Drake comes out and I like go against the wall so that he can get past with his bodyguards and stuff, and he comes up and he's like, yo, great to have you here, like, love your stuff. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That, like, it's not, nothing's topped that since, like,
Yeah.
nothing will. That was just like, you know, whatever you think of Drake, he's a huge part
Well, it's
of,
being
like,
acknowledged by someone that's probably the most famous rapper
Yeah.
around at the moment, whether you say he's the best or whatever it might be, but he's the most recognizable, isn't he?
yeah, 100%. And like, that was the biggest moment for me, where I was just like, this is surreal, and like,
Yeah.
this is mad. I couldn't believe it. It's one of those interesting things as well. Like, I was so starstruck when I met
Yeah.
Drake, even though it was only for like a couple of seconds, and then he was gone up into like a private box at the back.
I wonder if he's told this story on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I think he has. Yeah. I've heard him chat about it. Yeah. So, it's one time I met Shuffle T, mate. It was sick.
Do you get pissed off at fans talking to you about battle rap all the time?
No, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
He loves it.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite thing. Like, it's really rare that this will happen. It'll be like, but now and then someone will like, clock me in the street or something and be like, "Oh, I saw your battle," and I think it's amazing. It's like what an amazing position. They always feel like they kind of know you, and a lot of people take that as a negative. And I imagine it's different people, Brad Pitt or whatever, who like get it constantly and can't go out. But for someone at my level, like it's a joy to have someone go, not only like recognize, but then have the balls for they're intimidated probably because they're like, "Oh, I've seen him on YouTube."
Yeah.
Like to have the balls to just come up and be like, "You're the battle rapper." And then they want to have a conversation. I'm like, I love it. I'll always ask questions back and, try to remember them next time I see them.
So do you not separate yourself as I'm two people? I'm Shuffle T when I'm on camera or on stage, or I'm Adam when I'm not?
No, because I always think like battle rap and rap generally, the most important thing is like be yourself, or like keeping it real, keeping it as authentic as you can. Like obviously you ramp up your sort of your stuff. Like I'll make out as if I'm like I've got a butler and stuff like that because I know that people are going to say that about me or whatever. But like you be as much as yourself as you can. If you're likable, then people buy into that, and people buy into likability when it's authentic. And so I think I'm basically the same person, but I just don't rhyme as much in real life. I think. I say the same things, That's it, isn't it? It's like that's what the best comedy is always like that, and the best like period dramas or the best like scripts. They're always things that are like this is this situation, which is a real situation, which I'm just going to ramp up as much as I can. Detective series, nothing happens like that. Where Agatha Christie or like Miss Marple or Poirot goes to a party, and every party they go to, there's a fucking.
Oh, do you know which one did my head in like that? No, Dexter. Have you ever seen Dexter?
Yeah, there's a murder every single week.
Not only that, is why is he the first person on the scene in every murder? And it's just like he's the blood guy. He's here before the police even knew there was a murder. Yeah. We're 8 seasons in and no one's cottoned on to this fact.
But that's the thing. It's just like that's reality ramped up, and that's what makes the best art. Probably like I've no problem with Poirot going to a different house party every week, and there's always someone dead, and there's always
Midsummer
a mystery
Murders.
around it. Yeah, exactly.
Don't live there.
Yeah, exactly. Move away, for God's sake. That's fine. I love it.
So going back to then, you're saying that the bad bars was probably the moment. Do you think then you were setting yourselves up to having scrutiny on all your future bars? Again, you've kind of like put more pressure on yourself. Yeah. And that might play into the nerves thing.
Sort of. But like with the bad bars, which was like intentionally bad material and bad puns and like laboured wordplay and stuff like that, and bad rhymes.
Honestly, G, you're an obvious geek. You're a novice to me, and you suck in my eyes like an optical leech. So I'll take all your family members and get someone from special ops to kill each. That's a creepy. And remember that girl, Apri, in our film studies? Yeah, you do. She was in our film studies. She had black rimmed glasses. Yeah, you remember her? She was great, dude. But I ain't talking about liking having you around when I say Apri, she hates you.
It's sort of like if you do that, even accidentally later on, people will sort of assume it's a callback, or like a motif that you're putting in. So you kind of are all right, but sometimes
method to the madness.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's deliberately done a bad bar again. Yes, I have.
But like sometimes it works in the opposite way. Like sometimes I do stuff that I'm really proud of, and people are like, bad bar," and I'm like, yeah, that's right, that's coolie.
I've posted stuff online sometimes, but like, "Oh, you're making a reference to that thing there," and I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am." It's like, you told me that. I didn't think that when I was writing.
You have to Google the thing now.
Of course it is. I know about that. So what is your writing process then for a round? Do you research your opponent, or do you sometimes think I've got too good material for this opponent and I'll save that for someone else, or do you tailor stuff?
No, I always... It's tailored. It's definitely tailored. Like a lot of the stuff that I say couldn't be used to another person. Yeah. And I think that in battle rap specifically, that's a sign of doing it right. I think. Like,
definitely.
If your stuff just applies to anyone, then you have to be really, really, really good at that kind of thing. But yeah, for me, I always like... I have a few different, like, it's kind of like developed over the years that I've been doing it. Sometimes I'll just like put the person's name in a circle and I'll just make things that I know about them as like a spider diagram or whatever, and I'll put one thing like, you know, it starts to write itself after a while, because you'll put something, let's say trainers, they're known for something to do with trainers. They did a trainer advert, and you go trainer, and then you go all the words that are to do with trainers, and then you go, right, well, we've got, you know, sole, tongue, lace, arch support, whatever. You've got all these things, and then you go, is there any opportunity to make a joke out of this or any wordplay out of this? And if there is, then wicked. If there's not, then scrap it. But sometimes also, it's like you should always work from the back and work from the last bar and go back, like a punchline, like a joke or whatever. Like, you should always work from your base idea, and then work back. And sometimes what I do is write out what I'm trying to say, not rhyming at all, and then just go, where's the sort of like the corner, the way that I can like naturally get a rhyme out of this that's going to land on the punch, and say that the punch was, I don't know, trainer shoes. It would never be that. let's say it's I
could have picked an easier one.
Shitty trainers.
Yeah.
And then you go, right, okay, so now I'm working on that rhyme scheme, and I got to go back. So you go back to the previous line, you go, how am I going to work in an idea? You know, is there anything that rhymes with trainers that's also to do with feet, or, you know, stuff like that? And, you know, I can't think of any now, but like...
you need a dictionary.
Simulator, you know, like you try on you know, when you pick your trainers, you always have to work them on with a simulator to see if they fit you later. You know, something like that, and you can go, okay, there's scope in here. There's a way that I can write. You can make this natural, because that's the most important thing. Whenever you see someone like forcing in a rhyme that they really like but has no business being there, and you're like, you can tell it a mile off. It's like, make it natural, write it out without limitations, because that's all rhyme is just a limitation. Write it out without any limitations, and then go, how do I keep the integrity of that as much as possible, but just shave it down so it's 4 lines, it has a nice rhythm, has a joke, and it has the rhymes. So you do all that, you stood in front of a crowd, and then you think this punchline's going to land, and then it's dead silence. Boom! So how does that make you feel? Like, or what is that like? It happens now and then where you think something's gonna go off and then it doesn't, and I don't know, it's funny when that happens. like especially like I like watching battles that I've done back, like especially with Theo, because it's like a kind of chronicle of our, you know, decade-long friendship. It's quite nice to watch him back and be like, I remember in 2013 when we were doing this, how fun to like have an actual snapshot. Sometimes when I watch him back and I don't get any reaction, there's like, or when anyone doesn't have a reaction, there's either two things. People either go, oh, what? That was good. What the fuck? Like, get annoyed, which isn't going to make everyone go, actually, yeah, you're right. Go on. Or start laughing spontaneously. Or you can go, oh, for fuck's sake, that didn't go well, did it? And make a joke out of it. Because all that is, those people not reacting, they want to react to you. Most of the time, they want to enjoy themselves. And enjoying yourself, you know, reacting is just an audible version of enjoying yourself. And so, if they haven't reacted, but they can see that you want to, then there's a tension between you and the whole crowd.
You've got to
and
own
they
it,
just
really
want that to be broken. They don't care how. So if you go, that went shit, didn't it? They're going to laugh because they're like, oh, thank fuck, it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's carrying on.
Speaking of punchlines that didn't have the desired effects, one of my favourite punchlines for being so bad was the eek, make up your mind.
Oh, make up your mind one,
Just for like visually as well. It's like, oh, what are you doing? That was an all-time low, I think, in battle rap.
Well, it's a weird one because he was kind of like, he was doing the bad bars idea, right? He was like, he was doing that back to Theo in that battle. He was like going, oh, you do bad bars, well, I'll do a bad bar back. But for some reason, it just didn't get the crowd, even though it was the same. We could have done that in the battle and it would have been fine. There was just something about the room and that it just made it look so bad.
You'd have thought I was saying you ought to put lipstick on your forehead the way I'm implying. You need to make up your mind.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's got this big, he said, make up your mind, put a streak of lipstick on his head, and then he's got that for the remainder of the battle. So not only was it like, he's got, every time someone sees that, they go, oh, you know, for the rest of the battle, they're going, oh yeah, that's when he didn't get any reaction. It's like, it's a physical reminder of that real lull in a battle.
What, have you got a worse bar? What's been your best bad bar or worst bar, if that makes sense?
Oh Christ.
They two different questions or the same question? I don't know.
The best bad bar I did, I think, was there's something like you moved to Australia to reorder your life, but what did you redo?
Now you went to Australia to reorder your life. Shit be, it's true. Went there to sort some shit out. And the bitch is sweet too. But when you came back, he was the same miserable dude. So tell me, whilst out in Australia, what did you redo?
I've had so many bad ones. There's been like loads of times where I've just like forced a rhyme in. Actually, there was a whole bad round a little while ago.
I hate it when people change how words sound, like, but not a little bit, like loads. It's like you've added a vowel there to make that fit that, or do you know what I mean? Or
I love when people say stuff like, if you're gonna say definitely, you say definitely, but if it's gonna rhyme with the next thing, then they'll change it to like definitely, and it's like you don't say that. That's not how you speak.
Definitely.
Or like sandwich. For sandwich, like, it's 2-syllable word. You can't just throw in a in the middle. It's sandwich, not sandwich.
So what is your dream battle? If you could pick anyone to battle now?
I think the one that's been talked about for the longest amount of time is me and Marlowe versus Thesaurus and Immaculate. I think it's like a coming together of the two sides of it, because they were champions of the freestyle era, and they've adapted to the written era better than almost anyone else. And we're sort of like at least in the UK, the sort of title holders for this over-prepared, the complete opposite of freestyle, where it's like we know exactly where we are at the point, and you know where we are on stage and things like that. So it's like these two worlds coming together to be like, right, let's have it out and see who.
That's who I would say if I had to pick a dream battle. It'd be that 2-on-2.
I would love it, but we really want to do it in the UK.
Yeah.
And I think they want to do it in the US. And I think in the UK, the crowds are so accepting.
Yeah.
And they just like, you know, wherever you're from, they're going to like you to the same extent most of the time.
I think in a weird way, Americans get an easier ride in the UK compared to UK in America, because
I think so,
they're like, oh, they're proper battle rappers. They're from America.
Yeah.
They're talking about guns and shit.
Yeah, it's that kind of like, again, it's that fame thing. Like they see them and they get higher views out there. So it's like, oh, well, if these guys are, you know, intimidating to speak to, then these guys over here in America are like, they must be like superstars sort of thing. But of course they're not. They're just normal people.
I see some parallels between you and Thesaurus in the sense that your standard's been set so high now that no one's impressed by anything you do, because Thesaurus has battled fucking 200-300 times, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and
it's a lot.
And obviously it's all original material and stuff. Like, he needs more credit than, say, Mook that fucking battles once a year when he can be asked. Do you know what I mean? But like, you would never say Thesaurus, you know, he's never talked about as like the greatest of all time, but he's got to be up there based on just volume.
I think he's up there. I think he's like I say, he adapted so well to the written era, and he's just like, he's got this amazing like ability to just make everything he rhymes sound completely natural.
Yeah.
Completely finds the right word every time. Same with people like Bender, same with people like Pat Stay, all these people, like, they just know how to make things sound conversational and effortless. Yeah.
Pat Stay is one of those ones, the perfect example of who's managed to do serious bars, jokes. He's kind of got it all, hasn't he? And that stage presence and charisma, it's unreal,
100%.
isn't it?
It's so impressive, because like, to hit on all those markers and not come across force, it's really difficult. To be funny, a good rapper, like a capable rapper just in the technical sense, aggressive and like scary, intimidating, have the persona, have the charisma, and have the stage presence, and know how to, like, he's the only person who does this at the beginning of a round and everyone in the crowd shuts up. Like he's the full package, a bit like, you know, Hollow Da Don is similar in that way. They're both the kind of like, that's why that battle was, you know, so
even we're going back to Pat Stay, even how his actions, like, you know, have you seen the Danny Myers battle where he's talking about he's got the kid on a leash, like 12 kids?
Man, please, you home with, he home with the kids? Family time and candy bribing, babies climbing all on him and their jammies crying to Bambi dying. Yeah, you be running the streets, double backpack, twin strollers, and one on a leash.
Just that segment's unreal, you know, if you watch that back.
But that is, it's so much about that. Like, a lot of people just you know, especially when they're starting out, it's not necessarily a flaw. It's just that they're not used to performing in the same way. Like when you're doing a battle rap, it's not enough to just be like standing here and just doing like performing it and just saying it. People want to sort of see the theatre of it a little bit. Like they want to see you sort of like act something out and do something big, and like, because you want to command the crowd. Like you want to show them that for this moment, I'm entertaining you and I'm going to make it as entertaining as possible. You're not just getting the words, you're getting a performance. Yeah.
Do you prefer performing as a 2-on-2 then compared to 1-on-1, as you picked a 2-on-2 battle as your dream battle?
I go in and out, where sometimes I really, really love doing the 2-on-2s, and sometimes I'll just like, in the 1-on-1s, I don't have to like sacrifice anything. Me and Marlo, we when we write, we end up, you know, a lot of the time finishing each other's rhymes off and stuff like that. We work proper like meshed, and it's fine.
Ships are sunken bones, skull and bone, up in smoke, covered over with undergrowth. Because with nothing more than luck, you drove up the road to the Devil's Throat.
But there's still a degree where he has to say this bit, and I might be like, oh, I wanted to say that bar.
Yeah.
Or like, I wouldn't have said it like that, but he's saying it, so I'm letting him write it how he likes.
Yeah.
Whereas in a 1-on-1, I get to just like, there's no limiters. I don't have to run anything by anyone else.
So it's easy to write on your own, but it's more enjoyable as a pair.
I think it's way more enjoyable to like perform it as a pair.
Yeah.
And my nerves go a lot when Theo's up there.
Yeah, of course.
Because one, you're just up there with a mate, and also I know that he remembers the material inside out. Like he knows it way better than I do. So if anything does go bad, I know that I can.
So would he jump in and finish your bars if he could see that you were struggling? And as if it was
like
part
whisper
of his...
it in my ear or something like that, you know, he just sort of like, he'd just say it, it'd be like, da-da-da.
Yeah.
You know, a bit about the trainers. Which is why, if you look back through most of our 2-on-2 battles, most of them go that Theo starts the first 2 rounds, because I know that the nerves will be so much for me at those intro bits that I'll probably forget. But he starts them off so that I can go, oh yeah, that's where we are. And then on the third one, I'll start it, because by that point I'll have, you know, felt a bit more at home, and you know, it sort of changes up a bit if I start one and he doesn't. So
what's the worst thing that's ever happened on stage, and have you ever completely choked?
Yeah, it was really cringy. It was in Newcastle, so it's dangerous enough already. And I'm joking. And there was like I was against a sort of hometown hero called Jack Sexton, and it was his tryout battle for the league, and I had a couple of battles already. And I think in the second round there was like 1,000 people there. It was one of the biggest ones we'd done, because there was just like a huge audience for it. And so in the second round, I think I like skipped ahead to my third round accidentally, and then just sort of like did that, and then was just like, fuck it, I'll deal with the consequences. I'll just like finish that, and then hopefully by the third round I'll remember what I was meant to have said in the second, and I'll just like hop from there to there. Then I got to the third round, and I think I started it, and I'm like, I'm clearly trying to buy time. It's really cringy. I'm like, yo, okay, cool, all right. And it's just like anything I can say that's not silence.
I bet it gets worse as well.
Because I'm thinking about what I'm going to say to delay the thing that I can't remember, so I'm not even thinking about that. So then I'm like, and then I just look at Rowan, who's the host, and I just go, and then there's just silence for a bit. And I always think like, if it ever happens again, I'm definitely going to do this, because I just thought of nothing except the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme. So I was just thinking, next time if I ever dry up and I'm just like, I'm up there and I'm like, I'm just going to go, West Philadelphia, born and raised, and then just go through the whole thing, because I think that'd be funny anyway.
And try and work in some...
Just do the fucking full thing. Can you imagine? People would be like, what the fuck is going on? Or just like, we're the goodies. How'd you do? We've just been down to the zoo. Just anything. It's better than nothing, isn't it? It's better than just standing there. That was the worst thing that's ever happened on stage. That was cringy as fuck. I was there for... It felt like 10 minutes. It was probably like 30 seconds or something like that.
So did they cut that out at the final edit that went on YouTube?
No, it's in there, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can see it.
They didn't...
Go watch it now.
Yo! Yo! So fuck this guy. So fuck my rhymes. Okay, let's go. So. No.
Shut up, man.
That's what you want you to be. Yeah, I'm lulling you into a false sense of security. All right. Fuck Jack Sexton. Fucking hell. He's giving free ab lessons.
At least with Tony D, they cut his jokes out, don't they?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I can
All I'm going to say is I know people that have been to events.
I know people who know people, mate.
Would you say there are any downsides to being a public figure?
I don't really think I'm that much of a public figure. Like, I don't think you're
not harassed on the train.
Nah. And it's like I say, it's sick when someone approaches. Walking around and being in London specifically, it's so boring. Like, on the train, no one speaks to each other. If you're walking along, I like to nod at people and just sort of like morning and stuff like that. They shy away. They're like scared of it, scared of contact from other humans. And it's like if someone approaches you and goes, oh, and they're friendly, then fucking wicked. Like, what, that brings such a joy to my day. I'll tell my girlfriend about it later. I'll be like, oh, this happened today. Like, I wouldn't put it on social media or anything, but like,
just been spotted in Tesco's.
But like, me and my girlfriend, we have this agreement where it's like, if we want to brag about something we've done, if we've done a good deed or if we've done something we're proud of, you don't tell we tell each other, and we can like exist in that bubble where we can just be like, for a moment, I'm gonna feel myself a bit here. Like, this happened today and it was sick. That gets out of my system, and then I don't have to post it on, because I've got someone I could trust who I love, who I could just be like, this is what happened, and it was a wicked moment. You don't have to put it online.
No.
But yeah, I don't think there's certainly at my level, there's no downside to being a public figure.
Has it opened any doors for you then? Flip side. So has there been where it's because, I've seen your battle, I know who you are.
Now and then.
You don't have to queue for a Bacardi and Coke. Come to the front.
I've had one or two people maybe like offer a drink or something. There's probably been a few like little tiny perks and stuff like that. But like, and sometimes you expect them. Like the other day I was with Craft D actually, and we were in London grabbing a pint. And we went into this bar, and this guy was like, "Oh my god, I just realised who you are." He goes, "Oh, big fan, both of us." He's like, "Oh," we're like, "Oh, sick." And he's like, "What are you having? What are you having?" I went, "Oh, sick, mate. Amstel." And he goes, "Yeah, sick." Oh, mate, it's so good to 10 quid, please. It's like, you fucking what?
Oh, fuck's sake!
I would have had a fucking shandy, mate.
So there's an age limit on this. You don't want to be battling when you're 50, do you? 60, 70?
I want to not be battling when I'm 30.
Is that a self-imposed?
Kind of, like, because I kind of like see 20s is when you sort of fuck your life up, and 30s is when you sort it out. That's kind of how I want to approach it. And it's like, so I'm gonna hopefully stop smoking when I'm 30, stop drinking as much when I'm 30, that kind of thing, and like settle down a bit to an extent. Like, I'll always be myself, but just like maybe take a bit better care of myself.
We always do questions from social media or LinkedIn, and when you were coming on, there was a few questions that came through. The first one is from Nicholas Cox, who said, couldn't you be asked getting Marlo on as well?
Rough.
I know. So I think people...
Nicholas Cox is like, what it sounds like you're saying, like lots of people without pants on, because that's cocks, which are Nicholas. Do you know what I mean? Nicholas Cox. So that's my comeback to you, Nick.
There you go, Nick.
Your name sounds weird.
Did you get that a lot, though? Did you get a lot of people?
Nicholas Cox?
No. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I'm always
got a girlfriend now.
What people saying, like
the Marlo thing. I know Ilmac thought you were Marlo.
Yeah, and I think he's still good. He says I look more like a Marlo, which I'll take. That's fine. But like, a lot of people were like, people prefer us as a two, than as a singularity. But like, I don't know.
The people always ask you where he is.
Yeah. But a lot of the time we are togetgether. Yeah, and that's even funny. When we're walking around London and someone clocks us and they're like, "Oh, you literally spend all the time together there." And we're like, "No, we're just like we're on our way to work." And he's like, "Oh, you work together?" We're like, "Yeah, but like, we're not like joined at the hip."
I've got another question here from Jamie Clark, who is.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Jamie Clark?
Yeah, well, he's got the league, hasn't he? The league.
Yeah, the league. That's right. He knows. So again. When are him and Marlo going against Ilsaurus? Oh, he's combined two names there into one.
Clever. He didn't do it for us, but he did it for them.
Yeah. He should have said Shufflo, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should have.
When is Shufflo going on?
He had his nous about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. When he wants to pay for it.
Yeah, get it on your league, Jamie.
Yeah. No, like hopefully soon, but there's nothing in the books or anything, but... this year would be sick.
We'll crowdsource it.
Yeah.
You know what I actually thought?
10 different crowdsourcing things at the same time.
If there was like a streaming platform for battle rap, I don't think anyone does this, do they? Is there only pay-per-views for battle rap?
Yeah, there's pay-per-views, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they had a streaming service where everyone chucked in £10 a month and all the leagues combined, and they did that. I think that would work.
Right, like to get all of them at the same time.
I think is it called Dazen or Dazen? Do it for boxing, where it's like £9 a month and it's boxing from all over the world.
I wouldn't be surprised if Premier Battles are doing something like that, because they've got that sort of setup where it's I certainly did, where it was like you pay in on a monthly subscription thing.
I think it's better, because then you could almost have like 2 main events a year. If lots of smaller leagues signed up to that, you could almost have like a sort of a World Dom event at the end of the year, where you've got a big pot of money and you could get the best, almost like the UK's best 2-on-2 goes against Canada's best 2-on-2, America's best 2-on-2, almost like semi-finals, finals, who are the real world champions.
Yeah, that'd be
because some of the World Doms matchups, I think, oh, who's that person from that country? It's like you've just got a random person in that we don't know about.
It's someone who battle raps in that country. The one person from that country.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And sometimes I think it's a bit of a stretch to call it World Don now. And also, Jamie Clark, Cheeky Bastards, asked 2 questions here.
Oh, I'm not having that.
Well, don't answer this one, but I'll ask the question so he'll be more annoyed. The favourite time he has used rhyming to his advantage outside of a battle? It's a good question, I think. But you're not going to answer it.
I will. Well, if I can. I don't know if it's been used to my advantage. Is annoying my girlfriend an advantage? Probably not.
Not really, mate.
No.
You're shooting yourself in the foot.
I don't think I've ever got anything out of it.
Have you ever just ordered a pizza and just rhymes like the toppings?
We did,
it's a piss take.
Yeah, me and Marlon did it. We were really drunk. It was terrible. We were just like, we'll have the largest pizza. Make it a margarita. my ma will eat you. It was just fucking trash, but the fair play to the other guy. He was like waiting on it for the whole time. He wanted that sale. he was like okay, and then but we had the rule was that you had to rhyme, and so when it came to reading out the numbers, we were like 4 and a 2, and then before I will move, it's a 0 that's coming for you with 2. It's cringe, but it is on camera.
So that is not really to your advantage. Did the pizza turn up?
Yeah, probably with an underlay of spit, but yeah, it was. I couldn't taste it. No, I don't think. Well, like outside of a battle, like I've used it for jobs and stuff, but never just in a real life scenario. I don't think.
You get people just coming up to you and saying, "Oh, can you rhyme something that rhymes with this? Can you just do a little?"
I'd really like that. I'd like that. I'd take that as a little challenge.
You can do one on Mike Winnet or Entrepreneur, and we'll use that as a promo. You don't have to do
Mike Winnet.
I'll give you a month.
I have a time limit? Oh, is it 5 minutes? That's it.
We'll give you a month to write it.
Yes, we'll meet back here. Yeah.
And Will Ross has said, do you know Will?
I think so, yeah.
Question would be a few examples. What are his... Oh, actually, I've stole your thunder here, Will. What are your best multis for? Mike Winnet, Entrepreneur, etc.
Right. Yeah, Mike Winnet, time limit 5 minutes. That's quite nice.
Entrepreneur might be tougher.
Entrepreneur.
We can cut this as well.
Yeah.
He did that instantly.
Entrepreneur. It's that annoying last syllable. It's quite a weird one because it's a French sound, isn't it? It's like entrepreneur.
But you are French, aren't you?
I'll make you dance in a minute, mate. Your podcast is so bollocks it hurts. You're entrepreneur. You try to stand out, but you get lost in the herd. That was pretty aggressive, actually. Even though I delivered it quite mildly, it had a bite.
Right, last thing. So there's a stat that only 15% of people that tune into a podcast stay to the very end.
Right.
Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if we've made it up, actually, but we've been running.
Doesn't matter because it is at the end. So no,
exactly. So what is your message to the 85% that couldn't be arsed staying?
Fuck you. Fuck you. You won't see this, but I'm gonna message all the 15%. If you're one of the 15% who's watching it now, give me your email address, and we're gonna fucking get the 85%. We're gonna round them up, and we're gonna beat the shit out of them. And so that's what's coming for you, all right? And I'm gonna rhyme your name with an aggressive edge, and you're not gonna like what's coming with that. Also, fund my book.